Look at this. This is wonderful. Let's see, it's just in focus. Got this painted prototype. They are allowing Danhausen to do this wonderful video for the fan housings and the vlog housing, if you will. Shall have this. You'll have another alternate head. Looks just like Danhausen. This is a huge milestone for Danhausen. This shall be the #1 seller for all of the AEW figures, whatever it's first. So, make that happen. Hopefully these will go up to pre-order soon. I don't know, but I cannot wait. This is a dream come true. Thank you everyone who has helped make it happen.
Okay, people, welcome back to another Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh Weekly. As always, I'm Robo, and as you can tell, it's one of those days. You know the kind I'm talking about, where your eyes are fighting you all day. You get up, and they just don't want to open. Is there something going on in the real world today? I don't want to. It's been rainy outside, it's overcast, maybe some allergies going on. I don't know. I just want to go back to bed. But it's weekly. It's weekly. It's Toy Talk Day, everybody. Toy Talk Day. And that always perks me up. So I'm hoping we'll get a little plastic therapy in today. And by the end, I'll be up and ready to go. Do some things. I'm already feeling it, actually. Let's start things off with a couple of McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse announcements. I think we've heard the rumors, or a blurb, or a teaser of some kind, but here is the Walmart exclusive DC vs. Vampire Superman in all of his undead glory. Nice to see the Page Puncher's body getting some reuse because I like that sculpt. But speaking of sculpt, you can't deny that the head looks awesome. Yeah, it's Superman as a vampire. That's not up everybody's dark alley, but it looks good. It's a nice sculpt. They did a good job. It is what it is, and it doesn't apologize for it. But if you're more into no-frills costumes, besides the fact that most of the time they're skin-tight spandex, all colorful, representing a character's personality or power set, there's also the Target exclusive Flashpoint Flash. He's sleek, he's shiny, here's your reds, here's your yellows. There's your alternate unmasked head. Are we in the Flashpoint McFarlane universe? Because here in the really real world, this would be some kind of separate gold label release. Hey, you want an unmasked head? You have to buy a whole other figure. Todd really can do whatever he sets his mind to. This is also part of the Build a Flashpoint Cyborg wave, so there's more plastic on top of that unmasked head. Nothing's up for pre-order as I'm recording this, but I have a feeling there's a McFarlane flood coming. Can you feel it? Ooh. NECA continues their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles April takeover with this tease. The Last Ronin, The Lost Years, Grammy April. Now, I only know the basics when it comes to The Last Ronin. I haven't read it, but I know it happens in the future, and things happen as things do when time passes. That's how time works. Hey, it's a toy channel, not a science channel. A quick Google gives me this page, though, with a turtle calling her Grammy April, just like in the tease. So I guess this doubles as a tease for the turtle, too, because they've shown other Last Ronin characters in plastic form getting this April. Are they going to do the turtles that are featured on that page that I have no idea? They look like younger turtles? Something's going on, and I have a feeling we'll see them in plastic form soon. But I do like that NECA doesn't seem nervous about diving that deep. Because, I mean, if it's turtles, then they're likely to give it a try. There is one more week in April. Makes you wonder what they're going to tease next week. Speaking of teases, Fresh Monkey Fiction has been posting up little sneak peeks for their Operation Monster Force Wave 2. Which is fun because they only revealed Wave 1 last November. So they're already bringing out new stuff. And the concept is beautifully simple. In this corner, Egyptian sorcerer with a horde of zombie soldiers. In the other corner, Van Helsing and his army of vampire soldiers converted by Count Dracula himself. See? Simple. But what it means is, ooh, interesting action figures. The new glimpses seem to bring another trooper class in, I think. When it comes to military uniforms, I'm just like, but if this head goes to that body, ooh. My eye drifts here, though. What? Vampires? Zombies? Pharaohs? Sasquatches? Okay. If this is a Sasquatch, because if you look at the sculpt closely, it is actually the Memory Toys War Bear. Not the original sculpt with the double joints and everything, the updated sculpt with the hinge and swivels and more hair, a little thicker. This is obviously a collaboration between the two companies because on Facebook, Fresh Monkey Fiction has no problem whatsoever admitting that this is War Bear. But that does give us an idea of size and articulation and the sculpt of the front, except for the head. Maybe it's another variation on the bear, but I'm really hoping for Sasquatch. And that opens up even more repaint possibilities because big hairy body. Or maybe it's something else altogether. We're going to find out more about this in June, according to the post. But speaking of those big burly beastie boys, there's also an update for the Memory Toys War Bear itself. This week, 5K Toys announced that their allotment of the bears will come with free armor sets. I said free. No extra charge. We don't see that very often, do we? Not to this extent. Maybe a hat, maybe a weapon, an accessory. Not full-on chest straps with big ol' honking shoulder pads, some bracers, the belt with the hangy downs. That adds a lot of value. So if you were looking at the price and thinking, well, it's just a bear with some hands. Now, it's a war bear. It's more of a war bear than it was a war bear. It's not just 5K Toys though. Seems any company that's offering pre-orders on War Bear, whether it's brown or black or the elusive panda, will be getting this armor set. And yes, that includes Big Bad Toy Store's exclusive Polar War Bear. If that pushes you over the fence, links are in the description. Who knows what money lurks in the wallets of men? The Mezco 1/12 Collective, The Shadow, knows. I gotta remember to put the in there because it's The Shadow. Not just Shadow. Hey, Shadow, what's going on? The Shadow. This one is an oddball for me. I remember the 90s movie because those prosthetics were scary. And I'm a fan of a good pulp vibe in my action figures, but I don't have a lot of connection to The Shadow. There's no nostalgia involved. So when I saw it pop up on my feed, I thought, yep, dude in suit with a scarf. If Mezco had Mezco-fied it up, it wouldn't be The Shadow. Hell, if you just take this section and zoom way in, you still look at it and go, yep, that's The Shadow. But the accessories do a lot of heavy lifting here. Sure, there's the standard weapons like a Tommy gun and pistols and ammo and blast effects, but I really like the crystal ball, the two-way radio, and the scales of justice. Okay, that's not a ton of accessories, but they're very shadow-centric. They fit this character. They fit this presentation. What it comes down to is your own personal wants and needs and desires when it comes to what action figures you want to buy and how much you want to pay for them. If you want it, $112 said to ship near the end of the year. If you don't want it, there's plenty of plastic out there. When I saw the solicitation for the Kaiyodo Amazing Yamaguchi Marvel Moon Knight pop-up this week, I thought, didn't this already happen? Then I realized it was just the initial reveal, which did show quite a bit of Moon Knight, and then he was displayed at a convention of some kind overseas. So we've seen the body, we've seen the design, but pretty promotional pictures. And what do we usually say about Amazing Yamaguchi? You either love them or hate them. Yes, yes, every time. They pose beautifully, but it can be very, very frustrating. That and the aesthetic makes it a very, very personal preference type toy line. Moon Knight, though, is one of those designs that plays to Revoltech's strengths. He's a mid-sized character, so he doesn't have the extra slabs of beef that we see on the big muscly tops, but he's also not gangly like the thinner characters. That and the armor panel lines help integrate the articulation a lot better than your standard skin-tight spandex costume. I was worried about the cape flowing from plastic to cloth, but structurally, it doesn't bother me. What does jump out at me is why did they go with a cream color for the hood and the plastic pieces here, but then more of a standard white for the cape itself? That transition trips my eye more than the change of mediums. But the cape situation could have been much worse. Much, much worse. And that's all before we even get to the accessories. The hands, the rods, the moonerangs, the clawed fists, the alternate face plates of regular glare, surprised glare, and angry glare. It wasn't until I saw those faceplates separate that I noticed the paint spray, the shadow they've put above the eyes, because when it's under the hood, ooh, it works so well. But if you order directly from Kaiyodo, they're also offering up this exclusive alternate all black faceplate to give it kind of a classic feel. Or at least what I think of when I think classic Moon Knight. You know how It's just shadow inside that hood. $75, scheduled for December. And then, as always, Hasbro Marvel Legends. I did just leave that in the title of all the weeklies. There's some Marvel Legends. A little old, a little new, something green, something else green. First, we got the reveal of Super Adaptoid during the last Marvel Legends livestream shindig, whatever it was called. Fan stream, probably. It takes an older 12-inch Captain America with modern flair on it, adds some Iron Man, adds some Thor, adds some Hawkeye, throw some green on top of it. Jarvis is your uncle. Well, almost. I get that a lot aren't happy that it does have a more recent feel to it with all the extra detail. This is not classic Super Adaptoid. And that's totally understandable. I get it, but for me, Super Adaptoid isn't high enough on my wish list for it to matter, at least that aspect. In fact, get your pitchforks ready. I kinda like the modern take. But my deal breaker is the wings. It seems like a lot of Avengers are represented in this design, as it should be on a Super Adaptoid, but for me, the wings meant Wasp. And there's no Wasp here. Plus, it added something to it. It's not just big dude in other people's costumes. The silhouette was emphasized by those... At least that's my thought process. $70 due out in August. But then there was something new this week. On Thursday, Hasbro revealed the Spider-Man animated series Green Goblin and Mary Jane Watson 2-pack. On April 20th, a green character and Mary Jane on 420. I see what you Hasbro. I'm sure you're sick of hearing about how much attention I didn't pay to 90s cartoons, so I have no connection here, but there is a recognition of Green Goblin's head. I remember thinking at some point in the past 20, 25 years that that's a mean-looking Green Goblin. I'd like to see him in plastic form. I also like the lighter greens and the pinks. It makes it look cartoony. So, mission accomplished. That and the unmasked Osborn head intrigues me. Yes, we've been seeing that heavier lip color, but still, it's undeniably Osborn. Look at that hairstyle. MJ, though, I have no interest whatsoever. But I looked at the picture and went, cowboy boots, Hasbro. Can we get a Marvel Legends Outlaw? That's how my brain works. It's either something I want for my shelf, or it has something I want to use to make something for my shelf. Or it's something I don't want at all, which is an odd concept to some, but I've gotten really good at, yeah, I don't need it, but you may want it. And in that case, it'll be available in May. I just got that. Pre-orders for the Spider-Man animated series figures is in May. Also from Hasbro, for the third week in a row, let's talk about some Star Wars Black Series. Oh, I never thought... I was about to say get sick of bread and butter, but it's not happening. Give me all the bread and butters. Another thing we always say, this line's like a roller coaster. There's some ups, there's some downs, there's some whoa, and there's some... We've just had a lot of whoa lately. And I'm loving it. I will enjoy it while I can. And it's not even earth-shattering news. It's just R5-D4. But at the same time, the words just and R5-D4 should never be said right together in the same sentence, because it's R5-D4. This is the droid that blew his own motivator, and I know now that I say that out loud it sounds weird, but he did. All to get R2 into position to fulfill his destiny. That's sacrifice, baby. That's a hero. Blew his own motivator. I don't know. Should I leave that in? Ah, to hell with it. More than that, though, in the realm of action figures, which is the whole point of this channel, this uses the larger scale R2 unit that was announced last week at Star Wars Celebration. That means proper scale. Finally. And we talked about it then, how this has been needed for years, even though some overseas companies has stepped in and tried to fill that wrong-sized hole. This is Black Series. Say what you will about prices, and we do, constantly. This, at $25, is still cheaper than importing. Well, I'm kind of slipping into R2, because there's been a few R2s. There was an R5 model kit, but there, if you don't want to put in the elbow grease, you want to save some time, just buy the figure, there you go. A couple of things though. When R2 was revealed, I was like, well, they didn't really stand it right side by side with other figures. Hopefully they got the scale right. So thanks to Theo Bonham for sending this picture showing that it's pretty damn close. I'd say that's close to the same size as the Bandai and Medicom offerings, unless, and thank you for sticking this image in my head, Norm, unless they shrunk Luke for some reason. But surely that Luke is the same size as all the other Lukes, and this R2 is going to look good next to all your other figures. I'm excited because we're finally seeing astromechs being done justice. There is a lot riding on those 3 legs. Another thing I commented on was the storage of the accessories in the extendo neck. At the panel at Celebration, they didn't actually show the inside, and the way they described it, I thought the back was just going to be hollowed out. You throw all the arms and the weapons and stuff, the sensors, into there, close it, it rattles around inside. No. For R5, they actually demonstrated that feature, and we're looking at more of a Jurassic Park Barbasol can situation.
All of these parts will slot into these right here, just like that. Then you can push that back down, and all of your accessories are stored inside the body.
Okay, that is neat. The carpet monster will starve a little longer. Also, it seems there was a slight slip up on StarWars.com showing the Mandalorian fleet commander along with R5. He showed up several episodes this season, but looking at the figure itself, it seems to be reuse of Axe Woves or Death Watch, which I think they were reuse of each other, just with some different overlays, some different parts. That picture was quickly replaced with just a single shot of R5, so they jumped the gun. This is probably going to show up sometime soon. Go for pre-order or something. I don't know, just give me more Mandos. Finally, there is a little Medicom MAFEX news. Only the pictures have popped up though. No information, and there's some head scratching going on. Like Justice League Aquaman. Not only did he screw up my segue from Star Wars to Star Wars, but it also looks like he reuses the same body as the previous Justice League Aquaman from a few years ago. It's been a bit. But the head situation has some shuffling going on. The angry clenched teeth face is from the original Justice League release. The angry open mouth and the smolder are from Aquaman movie version of Aquaman, all 3 with new paint apps. That helps a lot because remember, when it comes to MAFEX, the face paints have been a learning experience over the years. Early on, they weren't great, but they've gotten progressively better as time has passed. For this Darth Vader, more confusion. The pictures floating around include this shot, which is actually a solicitation picture from the 2017 release of Rogue One Darth Vader. It's the exact same picture. But this picture shows some red lenses going on, and some really real world feel. It looks like a production piece, not a prototype, which makes sense because this more accurately represents what we got in hand for that 2017 Rogue One Darth Vader. The fancy saber effect is new though, I think. Have we seen that before? Either way, it didn't come with that original release of Rogue One Darth Vader, so is this a re-release with some tweaks? I don't know. The only thing I am certain of is that Ahsoka is new. A MAFEX Ahsoka. I wasn't expecting this. This is the reason I'm talking about this week instead of pushing to next week when there's actual information, and I'm not just like, well, this kind of looks like that, but it may be this or that or that or this. I know this is new. It puts me in the same predicament as I had with last month's Bo-Katan, where I looked at it at first and thought, well, I've got the Black Series and it looks really, really nice. But the more I poured over the pictures and the different facial expressions,
I am no Jedi,
and the extra textures to the sculpting and the cloth robe. Now, I know Hasbro included a cloth robe with their 3-pack, but I didn't want to spend the money just to get that cloak. I'd much rather spend the $70, $80, $90, $100 for this and have it included. Collecting's weird. Again, no information at this moment. I'm sure there will be more next week, and we'll come back around and hash it out because, hey, I'll talk about Ahsoka again. Hell, I'm hoping with May 4th on the horizon that we'll see more Star Wars stuff because I'm enjoying it. It's been a while. But what I'm nervous about is Guardians of the Galaxy. That movie is only a few weeks away, and if you watch the Play Day, you saw that I've only picked up Star-Lord and Rocket. And the rest, I'm kind of like, well, okay. The matching uniform aspect, oh, it's tearing at me. I want them. But I've managed to pass. But when I see the movie, there's going to be that extra attachment. It'll probably force me. Nobody's forcing anybody to buy toys, really, when it comes down to it. But it'll make that urge stronger. Plus, it's Guardians of the Galaxy. Never hurt my feelings to have those figures. Because I bought the Star-Lord, and how many Star-Lords have we had? And I think I've bought all of them. Here I am justifying it to myself. That Nebula looks good, and the Mantis, and Adam Warlock, Drax, the others. Do I want the Groot? Something I noticed about that, I was at Target, and I saw part of the wave, and I saw that deluxe Groot. What the hell is up with putting a $50 price tag on the shelf, while on the site, they're charging $38.99? That's some bullshit. Pretentious red Walmart, yeah. I see what you're doing. So if you bought it in store and didn't realize it, save your receipt. Go back. That's not the price. But that's all I got for this week. We'll catch you next week. Same Fwoosh time, same Fwoosh channel. That's where I'll catch you.